This is a walkthrough for the quarterly workflow Trello board system that I have set up for you. Now, excuse me, once you watch this walkthrough, if your brain doesn't work in the quarterly format or whatnot, you can just take this concept and tweak the boards to make them your own. But I just want to show how versatile and how great Trello is for workflows. If you like this concept, but you don't think quarterly, you can always, do one with different months. Each board is a different month and you move it through the workflow, which will look a little clearer after I'm done with this demonstration. So you can see that the first quarter workflow has a lovely picture of snowy trees, because for most of you guys, your first quarter looks kind of like this. I'm a big proponent of doing custom backgrounds for every Trello board so that you can visually kind of snatch it quickly from your homepage that shows all your boards. So the first thing I've done is I have set up a list for each month in the quarter, right? Now, for each of these, I have put a little list of hashtag holidays just to kind of help give you something to post about if you are stuck on something for the day. And then I'm going to get into this card in just a little bit, what this means. All right. But do you see this card header that I put on there? Well, that's for a reason. All right. But we'll get to that in a second too. Over here, I have what's called the brain dump card or list. You can see the title of this card says, when you get a great idea, make a card about it. Then move it to the appropriate quarter and month to keep yourself from going down the rabbit hole. So this is just the whole concept behind this workflow is to take your ideas and keep yourself focused and keep yourself organized so that you know you're working on and attacking the priority list items that you have going on and not going down the squirrel hole, as I call it. I am a total squirrel girl, and I have figured out that this system helps me a lot. So let's just pretend you've got, we're just going to do great idea 1, great idea 2, maybe not so great idea, but super fun, right? We've all got those. So you've got your list of ideas right here, and perhaps once you click in them, they have all sorts of information, references. Maybe you've used some of the awesome plugins to grab some content from around the web. Whatever it is, when you move your card, it's going to move everything with it. So great idea number 1, you might be like, this one really is great. So I'm going to go ahead and just get to this one right away. When you move it to the top of each month. And here's why. This header right here that I created is kind of it'll eventually push these two down because these aren't priorities. This hashtag holidays and January tasks and deadlines, the way I've set it up, they're not priority. They're kind of recurring cards that you're going to see on every month. So you want, your actionable cards to be higher up top. So this at quick glance is going to be a visual that's going to push your eye up higher. And if you want, using the plugins, you can even do, can't spell. Oh my goodness. Let's give it a green label. You could even do a high priority. And a low priority, and kind of put your cards where they fall in that as well. So there's lots of different things you can do. But this is working on kind of just funneling your ideas and prioritizing them, right? So let's say great idea number 2 is, it's good, but it's not urgent. We're going to maybe just focus on great idea number 1 for the first quarter. So great idea number 2, we are going to move it over here to See this board? Move to next quarter. Now watch. Where'd it go? We're going to cover that in a second. So we've got great idea number 1 we're working on right now. We've got great idea number 2, move to the next quarter. And now maybe not so great idea, but super fun would be easy to knock out. And we just want to go ahead and get it done. So let's move it to this month. Okay. And it's going to disappear. All right. Now I'm going to come back and talk about how I did that, but I just want to cover the concept of how this works right now. And then we're going to get into kind of what all this means and whatnot. All right, so then we're going to hop up here to second quarter. For easiness, I have another tab open, but remember, if you use your Trello, official Trello extension, you can just do Command L, T space, second. Oops, maybe caps doesn't work. Yeah, doesn't work with caps. Second quarter or whatever you renamed it, because remember, you need to copy these boards and make your own copy before you start changing things. But for the sake of this video, we are going to just click on this tab, second quarter. Now look over here. There's great idea number 2, because I set up an automation that when you move something into the board, move to next quarter, it automatically knows to send it to the next quarter's brain dump. That's pretty cool, right? So this one, let's say, well, now let's pretend it's April, because it almost is. So we will be mainly working on this board. So if we have new ideas, we're probably going to put them on this brain dump. You can also call it tasks, whatever you want. Ideas, squirrels, you can just call it whatever you want. So let's put fantastic idea. Let's put Easter extravaganza. Let's see, May is Mother's Day giveaway. I don't know, whatever these ideas are. And then you had a great idea for Christmas stuff and maybe back to school blog. I'm doing obviously holiday related things, so you guys get the gist. So again, we've got up here some hashtag holidays for each month, as well as April tasks and deadlines. And we're going to go back and talk about that. So we've got fantastic idea. Well, it's fantastic. Let's go ahead and move it to this month. Where'd it go? Whoops, what just happened? That's weird. What happened to fantastic idea? Let's add it again. I'm not real sure what just happened there. There you go, fantastic idea. And it went away. I have no idea what this is. Okay, then Easter extravaganza needs to go in April. Oh, Mother's Day, that's in May. Christmas stuff. Oh, let's move it to next quarter, even though it goes to the fourth quarter, but I didn't want to get super overwhelming. You could do that as well. Move to fourth quarter. Could create a list. Let's move the blog, back to school blog, a little bit later as well. Oh, and we've still got great idea of number 2 over here. Let's move that to this month. Oh, that happened again. Okay, I have never seen that happen before, but great idea number 2. Oh, here we go. I dropped it over here. Great idea number 2. Let's move it to this month's board. All right, so far it's flowing right along. We've got Easter where it needs to be, Mother's Day where it needs to be, and these, once we cover them, will be populating as well. So let's move it out and move it back in again. Sometimes it takes a moment. And if it seems like some of your automations aren't working, sometimes it really does just take a moment. Or you can move it out and then move it back in again. And sometimes that resets it. I think whatever I did where I accidentally tried to drag it up here confused it. So now we're going to go to third quarter, see what's going on. All right. So same thing as before, hashtag holidays, recurring tasks, move to this month, move to next quarter. So we're going to move, well, let's see. Say you're in third quarter, but you're early on. So we're going to move back to school blog to September. I don't know, depending on where you go to school, it could be August, September, whatever. Let's move Christmas stuff to next quarter because that's where Christmas is. or whenever you need to work on Christmas stuff. And fantastic idea. Let's move it to this month. Now, keep in mind, this is all a work in progress. You won't always be moving things immediately through the quarters and then to this month, but this is a nutshell description of what we're doing, right? Or a nutshell illustration. So let's look up here and go to the fourth quarter. And we've got Christmas stuff moved over. And on this one, instead of having moved to next quarter, I have it moved to next year. But you know what it's going to do? It's going to move it right back to your first quarter card because it's going to assume you're going to use the same format next year. So even though it says move to next year, just for logistics sake, I guess, or clarity, it's going to move back to your first quarter board. So if you have like great idea for 2020, which I cannot believe next year will be 2020, move it over here to next year. And it's going to be back here in your first quarter. So I hope that makes sense. All right. So first of all, what happened to, you know what? No, we're not going to go quite yet to this month's board to show you that. We're going to talk about these reoccurring cards that I said we would get to soon. These March tasks, deadlines, February tasks, and deadlines. So this one uses a power up. So again, if you are on Trello free, you get one power up. If you only get one power up, I don't know that I would recommend this one because you can kind of do this in other ways. There's a bit of workarounds. But if you're on Trello Gold, you get 3 power ups, or if you're on business class, you get unlimited. So this is card repeater. See, I've got this power up right here that says repeat. Say that you've got regular tasks that you do every January, right? For example, these press deadlines. I put these in on each card for you guys. For print, you already need to be crazy enough submitting stuff for Mother's Day, graduation, Cinco de Mayo. Blogs and online magazines are a little bit closer to the actual date, so you're talking Mardi Gras, spring weddings. That's going to recur every January, right? And then maybe down here you do like end of year inventory. You start preparing your forms for taxes. You've got 1099s to think about. Whatever comes every January, you make a checklist, and then basically you can repeat this card. This thinks I'm doing a new repeat, but you can repeat it yearly on January 1st in the list January position, you know, at the top, at the bottom, whatever you want to put it. I would say bottom. And then you can save it. And it will tell you next repeat, January 1st, 2020, 12 p.m. You could do 1 a.m. so that you wake up and it's there. You can do whatever you want. You can also have these cards repeat daily, repeat weekly, repeat monthly. So there's a lot you can do with automation. So you don't have to keep creating these cards over and over again. I'm just showing you the overview right now for like January, you know, for things that only happen once a year. And again, I keep my checklists in the little library over here so that if you think of something later and go, oh yeah, I forgot to add that to January, you add it here in the library, and then the next time the card repeats, it will grab that updated checklist. I hope that makes sense. So, you know, these can change for your business. Perhaps you're a product-based person and like every June you release your Christmas collection to your retailers. So then you would go to June. Whoa, June is at the end of the second quarter. And you'd add on your June tasks over here, submit Christmas collection to retailers or whatever it is that you do. I also have a command, and I did this through Butler, which Butler deserves his very own walkthrough video. But I have it set to if you are finished with something, you move it to the done board. It's going to fade out and kind of do a strike through. That's not Butler. That's the list highlighter extension. So it kind of out of sight, out of mind. And then every morning at 2 a.m., this card will clear so that I don't just have a crazy, crazy list of items I've already done, because who cares? I need to just get those out of my brain space and away.